Good day, guys, and welcome to the first episode of 2025 for the Teacher Emilio podcast. Today I am recording this from Japan and I am beyond happy and excited for many reasons. One is obviously catching up with friends and family, and another one is, it is Japan and Japan is amazing. But on top of that, my mom is here with me, so it is extremely cool to just show her around all the things that I like about Japan. It's so nice seeing her trying different foods, and I thought this could be a nice topic to, start the year, start 2025, and I hope that you enjoy the view and that you like the video. Big thank you for your support in 2024, because without you, literally this wouldn't be possible. And thank you for spreading the love, for telling people about the podcast. I said this in the previous episode, but the number of people telling me that they are practicing improving their English from the podcast is increasing, and I am just so grateful and I really appreciate you guys, so massive thank you. And on the same note, just the same way that I am showing my mom Japan, I am sure that a lot of you guys are showing your parents, your family, your friends, your loved ones, different parts of Australia. I have seen from in Instagram students that are in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, basically in each of the major cities, how we are showing Australia, right, to the people that we love. Families coming all the way from South America, Asia, and other parts of the world to go to Aussie land, to go down under, to see the kangaroos, and obviously to catch up with us. And it is such a good feeling. I still remember when my family came to visit Australia the first time, and as a student there were lots of things that I wouldn't normally do, like maybe going to certain places or trying certain things just because life was expensive, and you're a student trying to save money. But then when family comes and visits, it is, I think, the perfect excuse to just try some of those things for the first time. And as I was telling you, for me now it's a reverse shock, because interestingly enough, obviously when I came now to Japan, I am happy, I am excited, but more so than me being excited, it is the excitement or the happiness of showing my mom different things about Japan. So it is just so nice being able to do this. And it got me thinking, because it might be like the next level of not necessarily helping others, or like the next level when it comes to something that you really like, because it is more the joy that you have of sharing something that you are passionate about. In my case, it might be as simple as showing my mom around. Like, for example, if we are walking around here, it could be as simple as just walking on the street and showing her what a sign means, or like, oh, this symbol means this, and then my mom telling me like, oh, you're crazy, I can't believe that you can read that, or I don't know, or just showing her. I'll give you a good example in just a second, because Japan has got lots of very cute characters, or for example things like this, where this is just a pharmacy and has got really beautiful cute penguins, and this is like a New Year's decoration, so it is really nice. On the flip side, right, because I'm talking about showing different countries to our family, on the flip side we've got the other side of the coin, which is students, or us going back to our home country. Lots of my students are going back to Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, and the list goes on and on, which is equally cool, because we don't get to go to our country as much as we want to, right? I guess that is probably the biggest problem when it comes to living in Australia, which could be good and bad. That can be a whole new episode on its own, where we are basically so far away from everywhere except New Zealand and Asia, For us Latinos, it is at least like 2 or maybe even 3 planes, maybe even more, right, to get to where we are from. And getting to try the food, getting to just be with family, getting to be maybe speaking Spanish, Portuguese back at home, it's just such a nice feeling. And An easy example is when I was in Venezuela last year. I remember when I was just doing something as simple as ordering a coffee. So normally you would say, if you want to say a black coffee in Venezuela, like almost everywhere in South America, I think like it's not common to say Americano, right? And I would just say, oh, un guayoyo por favor. And guayoyo means that, like black coffee, a long black in Australia. For my Colombians, it is a tinto. And the list probably continues, right, for every country. And just doing those things, little things that, you know, maybe it is not that important, right? But then I guess when time passes, when you stay in Australia for a long time, it is really cool. And well, with this, I start thinking now it is 2025. It's crazy, you know? I think for the next month I'm going to be putting the wrong date on the calendar. Normally I make mistakes up until March. So I am getting prepared to be scratching 2024. Yeah, like the fact that I'm here recording this, I'm just also like blown away. It was about a year-ish when I came back in the study tour, and this time it is on holiday mode and trying to relax. So I guess this is a reminder for me and for you as well. If you're watching this, enjoy what we have left of the holiday season, because very soon, in a few days, maybe you're watching this already late and you're working already, and you know you're gonna be back at work. We're going to be back studying, so enjoy the time that you have left wherever you are when it comes to whatever that you're doing. And I also have to make a special mention to those of you who perhaps didn't travel, who perhaps didn't get to be with everybody that you would want to be in terms of friends, family, loved ones. Because as I'm telling you this, it all sounds really good. I am on holidays, right? But there is also an important group of people, which is those that stay and just basically are working, or let's say the struggle, or not necessarily struggle, because life in Australia is good, but it's like, let's say the battle continues. And this is from a student who messaged me, wished me Merry Christmas, and also a big thank you for all your messages. And yeah, this person told me, look, teacher, now you know it's holidays, so you know what that means, right? And obviously I know what that means. When we are in Australia as international students, I would argue that over 80% of the time, when we are on holidays and we are not studying, we are not going to Crown Casino, we are not going to the beach every day, we are not, you know, drinking margaritas, right? What are we doing? We're probably working overtime. So this is what my student told me, like now I'm trying to save money, getting ready for the next semester, basically trying to save as much as I can, cover visa costs, etc. So if that is you, we feel you, and I guess it is just remembering that it is part of the process. Now it is also a good time as I'm walking. I am planning to go for a short run. I did a long run just 3 days ago, sorry. And because I haven't been running that much, it was quite painful to say the least. Now I'm doing a lot of stretching. I'm gonna do my New Year's typical run, let's say. Nothing too crazy, just going for a run, short distance. I'm gonna be doing 5Ks. Let me show you around. And the cool thing is, well, not the cool thing, sorry. Now that I'm gonna be doing this run, it is exciting because this will be like my start of the year meditation, where I just go, no headphones, no nothing, just my phone because I don't want to get lost. And yeah, as I'm recording this, it reminds me of how I started the podcast just from a run. So hopefully from this meditation I'll get something good. And it gets me thinking, right? Because now, even though I'm on holidays, a part of me is thinking, okay, what am I going to do in 2025, right? Even though I'm on holidays, and this could be happening to lots of us, or lots of you, I should say, it is that maybe, you know, while we are having a good time and relaxing, there might be people around us, friends, family, who, even if they are or not on holiday, they are also planning their life. Like, for example, just the other day I was hearing like my wife's friends saying, oh yeah, let's catch up, ta-la-la, but the kids are starting school soon, or like, oh, I have to go and to work, I'm coming back to work on this day. And of course, you know, with New Year's we have the New Year's resolutions, things we want to do, goals that we want to achieve. And something that I like to do is to just grab a book and write down a few things, or sometimes a lot of things, and they just go from most important to, I don't want to say least important, because all of the things that I write are things I care about, but basically doing that, going through the things we want to do. But it is also the time to remind you that we need to have discipline, we need to build up our skills, we have to basically have a plan. And I hope that for some of you, no, not for some, that for those of you, I should say, who have the plan of passing IELTS or PT, that you can get it. Just recently I was talking to someone on Instagram, and this person said, Emilio, I don't have the discipline. I want to take the test. I have to extend my visa. So if that is you, this is like the chance to say thank you to today's sponsor, which is myself and you. And just to remind you that in about 10 days, in about 10 days, on the 14th of January, I'll start my 3-week IELTS and 3-week intensive PTE courses. So there will be one course for IELTS, one course for PTE. And if this is you, somebody who has to take an exam to maybe start uni in February or March, or maybe you want to extend your visa, or maybe you just want points for the PR, or whatever it may be, because there are 1,000 reasons why we have to take these exams, right? If that is you and you want to try to reduce the stress, because I tell my students, it's not like you're gonna come with me and, you know, it is going to be sunshine and rainbow and life is going to be perfect. No, it is equally not going to be impossible. But if you want to go from this much stress to less stress, and to go from being on your own, not being sure what to do, checking on YouTube or checking online or hearing from friends or memorizing a template that such and such gave you, and you want to get ready for the test and you want to crush it and do well and to feel comfortable and to know that somebody who has done that, who is a teacher and has experience with helping students, is going to be there with you. If you would like all of that, get in touch, either via Instagram, you can drop me an email, I'll leave all my details here in the video description. Of course, if you're listening on Spotify, this will also be available in the episode notes, and just get in touch. The good news and the bad news is that there are spots available, and the bad news is that it is filling up. I normally, because it is only me, right? I am the teacher, the video editor, the content creator, if you wish. I'm the podcaster, because I am everything and I've got a few different hats. The only challenge, or one of the challenges I should say, is that I manage small groups, or that I cannot manage too many people. I have to be realistic, also for me and for you, you know? So with this, what I'm trying to say is that there will be limited spaces available, because I like to manage small groups. That way I can deliver you my best, I can give you my 100%. So if you're watching or listening to this and it sounds like, yes, I want to start with you, Emilio, then just get in touch. I would love to help you out. And remember, it is important to stay focused, stay dedicated, and also to stay accountable. So this could be something to say for some of us. I think that might be one of the reasons why I like to write down my goals, so that a part of me feels a bit accountable and I can see that they are somewhere. And this could be the same for you. Like, if you would like to feel accountable, or to put yourself in that position where it's like, oh, I have to do this, maybe the courses might be for you. And of course, if you know someone who may be interested, please tell them about it, because that's the whole point, right? Passing our test and then enjoying life in Australia. Lots of materials available, a copy of my book, audiobook, so you'll be busy, or your friend will be busy. And well, yeah, with all that said, it is important to also be grateful, as I am here, catching up with friends, with family. This might sound a bit weird to some of you, maybe, at least not to me, but on this trip I have been practicing lots of spoken Japanese, because my mom asks questions, and sometimes, as much as I may feel that I know about Japan, I don't know everything. And now my wife, when she listens or watches this, she's going to be laughing. So because I have to ask a bunch of questions, I get to practice a lot. I'm also thankful to me, because last year was a year full of study, full of practice. So I have to say, or tell you in an update, let's say, that sometimes the hard work that we do, we may not see it. And this is a bit of a philosophy that I think could be applied to anything, right? It is the same in the gym. If you go to the gym for a day, nothing happens. But if you go for a few days, for a month, 2 months, and then you start eating healthy on top of that, boom, you start seeing some changes, right? With language learning, it is tricky, or at least with Japanese, for me it's tricky, because not being based in Japan, sometimes it is hard to gauge how much I am improving. But I could tell you guys, and I think this is where I also have to see in February, or like later this year, how I go with my exam. But at least, I guess the good news is that I'm feeling less lost, if that's even a thing. And what I mean is that I know what things are, as in I can read, see things around, but it is a good update to just say that, oh, I feel less lost. And you know that feeling when you have to grab something in Spanish, for example, or in Portuguese, or whatever language you speak, and then you have to and then you change it into what you want to say? It is happening a bit less. Obviously, it happens, but it is happening less, which is, I guess, a form of progress. Am I making mistakes? Of course I am. I don't get all the things right, but it's all about slowly improving. And to that I will also tell you, for those of you thinking of, oh, I want to improve my English, or if I want to learn a new language, I was just telling my father-in-law yesterday that, it is good that I'm not struggling and that I'm improving. And I think part of the reason is because every day I'm doing a little bit, something, even if it is as minimal as reading a few pages in a book, in a newspaper. Well, newspaper not really, because I would have to read online and it's not that common. But it could be like a book or a manga or anything. But reading something, seeing something written in Japanese, or maybe listening to the news, or if I'm driving, I would listen to a podcast. Maybe you are listening while you're driving. So massive thank you if that's you. And I hope that you're enjoying your drive. So yeah, like doing something every day will almost always be better than saying, look, I'm not gonna do anything for a week, and then boom, I put 3-4 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. I guess the same could be said with my run, instead of doing 10 kilometers, boom, all of the sudden, I could go ahead and basically do like a fewer runs and then, build up my skills. It really gets me thinking, because sometimes, as I said, we may not see these things. And I had an interesting conversation yesterday, which I guess could give a lot of you guys a bit of peace when it comes to any goals you may have, and when it comes to how far we have come. Just yesterday, right, I was having having like some street food, right, in front of a temple. It was like grilled meat and grilled calamari, or squid, I should say. And an interesting thing was, which is, by the way, a whole new different thing, but I'll tell you in a second, is that in this trip, I haven't been told, oh, your Japanese is good. And if you're learning Japanese, I haven't been told like, oh, Nihongo josu desu ne. But actually yesterday, I was told that for the first time on this trip, like, oh, your Japanese is great, and I just ordered like 2 skewers, and I replied to him, to this man, very friendly by the way. I just replied to him saying, no, I make a lot of mistakes. This is nothing. And then he said, no, but if you can be here and you're ordering, that's good. I mean, this is good enough, right? And a part of me is like, well, yes, look, it is good enough. There is still a lot to improve, and I'm going to, keep practicing this year. And he's like, that's such a good way to think about it. But doing this is amazing, right? And I guess it is important to also think about that, just because as I'm talking to you, as I'm recording this, right, it reminds me of some of the goals that we didn't achieve last year, right? Things we wanted to do or things we wanted to get, and for whatever reason we didn't have them, we didn't get them, we couldn't do them. But it is also a matter of like seeing, hey, it is good, it's okay, as in there is not necessarily good in the bad, but it is like we are improving. We may not see it, but we are improving. With the exams, for example, I didn't pass my Japanese test, and it feels horrible to be on video telling you that I failed the test. This is, I guess, another reason, or not reason, sorry, this is just something just to show you that I know how you feel, right? And yeah, it feels terrible. I really hope that the day comes when I tell you I finally passed my exam. But putting that on the side, if I have to be completely honest with everyone, being in Japan, recording this video podcast episode for you, when I started thinking about some of the things that I'm doing right now with Japanese, I'm just going crazy. Because I never, well, not necessarily never, but probably like one of my wildest dreams would be to have a conversation in Japanese. That was by far one of my biggest goals, to speak without sounding like a caveman. Like, me, sushi, please, me, hungry, hurry up, or something like that. But on top of that, being able to like grab a book and like read Dragon Ball, for example, which is like the first anime/manga that I watched, like almost every other Latino kid in the late 90s, 2000s. And now I can do that. I can grab a book and read. And of course, every now and then I have to use the dictionary, but it's just crazy. So even with all the bad things that happened, it's like, hey, what used to be, or what seemed impossible a few years ago, it is now what is normal. The same thing could be said with the podcast. Being here with you, recording this for you, and just telling you this is crazy. When I heard people telling me like, oh, Emilio, I'm using your podcast to study, I'm learning from your conversations, or from your interviews, I should say. I really like what this person said, what this other person said. It's just crazy, because I thought I'm not gonna be Joe Rogan. And not that I have to be, not that you have to start something thinking you're gonna be top or the best or number one. But I just started this thinking, look, hopefully this will help someone, this will help some of you. And it is. And it is growing. It is growing not crazy fast, but it's, like slow and steady. Baby steps, like we say in Australia. So slowly getting there. And it is just, again, really good. The fact that, I'm with you right now, it's also like crazy. Good crazy. And I hope you're enjoying. For those of you watching on YouTube, I hope that you like this video. I hope that you find it interesting, like here as I'm showing you, let's say, not really countryside, but let's say showing you here central Japan on a rather beautiful day. It is good that it's very quiet. Well, by the way, this is the 2nd of January, so I think almost everywhere in the planet is going to be very quiet. And for this year, I guess some of the goals that I want to share with me and with you, also like to stay accountable. It is, of course, finally passing my Japanese test, because that will be that'll be such a milestone to like finally tick in that box. But on top of that, obviously finishing my course that I'm studying right now, this Masters in Translation. Hopefully, not hopefully, well, yes, sorry, hopefully I'll finish it this year around December or maybe November, right? End of the year. Another one will be obviously health, trying to stay healthy, basically continuing going to the gym, being extra careful of my health. Maybe stretching, I want to maybe stretch a bit more. So you'll hear a few random updates of me telling you that I am stretching a bit more because I feel like I am stiff like a rock when it comes to stretching. And another one is, of course, if I do pass the Japanese exam, I still have to study Japanese, but I could like reduce that study load, which would be good because then that also means most likely more podcast episodes like this, like the one you're watching. It will also mean more videos and more activities for my students who study with me on Patreon. It may also mean more preparation courses. So it will be pretty good because it will be like more of producing, more of making things. And I also want to have more videos on YouTube, or maybe even in short form on Instagram. Maybe YouTube might be only for the podcast. Instagram might be more like short form, bite-size type of videos to learn. I'm still deciding how to go about it because, as you know, I'm in holiday mode and I'm trying to enjoy the holiday, you know. This is, I guess, another thing that is important to mention. Whatever you're doing, try to, you know, get the most from it. That is something that I have really noticed in this trip because I have been to different cities, and because I'm showing my mom around, there are times when, you know, I have said repeatedly, like, we need to do this right now because this is the last time we'll be in this place and we don't know when we will come again, or we don't know if we will have the chance to do this or to do that. And that is such a powerful and simple sentence to be like, oh, we should try to eat this dish. For example, there is like a special seafood soup that I tried in Shizuoka, Japan, just doing a stop from Tokyo, just to see Mount Fuji. And yeah, like there was this soup. I didn't really know, but my wife told us, look, I think this soup is only in this prefecture in Japan, which is something interesting because that is so cool as a tourist. Like, Japan has got almost like every different city is completely different, or it's different and unique. And when it comes to trying food, if you like seafood, you should definitely come. And if you have been to Japan, you should come again. This is your call, your reminder. And then, yeah, like having that phrase of, oh, we have to do this now or else we may not be able to do it. I think this could be also your call. If you are thinking, hey, Emilio, maybe I should do the IELTS course now. Maybe I should do the PT course now. Maybe. If you're thinking about it, it could be a sign. So just get in touch and we'll see if that is the best thing to do for you. It is also important to tell you, if you are watching this or hearing me, and a part of you is like, look, I'm not 100% sure what I should do. I don't know if I should do PTE, because everyone says PTE is the best, it's very easy. I don't know if I should do IELTS. I'm having a heart attack when it comes to doing IELTS, or vice versa. Whatever the case may be, get in touch because I could also help you decide what is the best test for you. Not what such and such say, but the best one that will help you get to your goal. That is very, very important. So yes, it's gonna be a year of challenges. And I'll tell you something else that I want to share with everyone here. When I'm in Australia, I keep telling my wife, it would be so cool to live in Japan. I also tell this to friends, like, I would love to come and live here. I am not Aussie, right? I don't feel Australian enough to say that I am Aussie. Maybe a part of me is, I guess. Not I guess. Or I'm going to say that maybe a part of me is Australian. It's there, it's somewhere there, right? Because when I think about it, I have almost lived there a third of my life. Ooh. You know, when you say it like that, it sounds pretty long, right? So, yeah, a third of my life in Australia. And when I'm here in Japan, in the land of the rising sun, in the land of Dragon Ball, the land of One Piece, of anime, of delicious ramen, sushi, and everything, you know. When I'm here with all this improvement in terms of Japanese, a part of me thinks, look, I could easily live here, no problem. I guess my only problem is that I would miss Australia. But maybe that happens to all of us, right? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Because at least right now, the challenge that I could have when it comes to thinking of coming here is more that when I left Venezuela, right, when I was 18, I left because the country was going through tremendous problems. And look, if you would like to know a bit about what has happened in Venezuela for the last 20-30 years, I've made a video talking about it in detail. And the link is in the show notes or in the description, so you can check it out or send it to someone who likes politics, who likes to talk about politics, because that video is packed with lots of things to talk about. But when I think about coming to Japan, it wouldn't be because we have problems with politics in Australia, or because the economy is crazy, or because inflation is terrible, or because I go out and I have the feeling that I could get robbed anywhere, or you could get kidnapped, right? I've got none of that. It's not like you go to a supermarket and it is hard to find products, and I could keep going with the list, right? In Australia, we don't have any of that, or like any of those, let's say, more serious problems that were happening in my country when I left. And when I left, it was more like, I have to make it happen. I have to go to Australia, and there is no plan B. It's plan A or plan A. Like, my plan was to stay in Australia however I could, because my brother is there, because life is good there, because, you know, basically my family made such an effort for me to leave, and I knew how hard it was to leave Venezuela. So it was almost like I have to make it happen. Thanks God, Buddha, the stars, Allah, whatever you believe in, it happened, right? So now I got my PR, I'm living in Australia, no problem. And then there is not a push in that sense of, oh, like I am struggling, or like daily life, it's problematic. There is none of that. Right now, as in, life is good, you know. Obviously, there are problems in Australia. One could be less international students, issues with like the housing crisis, or like the rents being very expensive, or inflation. But I guess this is like something that happens everywhere, you know. And there is no problem like this that is really pushing me to the point of saying, hey, I should really move, I should really leave, this is dangerous. There is none of that. So it is mainly out of interest, out of something that, you know, I would like to try. So yeah, it's so interesting and so different, you know, because right now it's more like a choice, I should say. Whereas before it was more, well, obviously it is a choice, you know, when you leave your country, but I guess it is more more a choice of preference, maybe, if that makes sense, or like to do a bit of a change in lifestyle, more so than, oh, there are all these things that I don't like. And now life is in Australia, you know, it's so, this I guess is also a video to be grateful to Australia, because the reason I am in Japan is because I was in Australia in the first place. If I hadn't been to Australia, maybe I wouldn't have been able to come to Japan. I don't know what would have been if I didn't go to Australia, because maybe, I mean, if I stayed in university in Venezuela or in another country, maybe it was going to be really hard to come to Japan in the first place. So who knows? Who knows where I would have been? But the fact that I'm making this is because of that beautiful, huge island full of kangaroos. And yeah, it's just interesting to, you know, to think about that. And when I'm here, when I'm in Australia, I think about Japan. And now that I'm in Japan, maybe this is my Aussie-ness coming out, you know, because it's like I'm in Japan, and I think it would be so nice to live here. The food, like things around here, I'm not too worried about the rules or this and that. The language is not a problem. But then it's like, oh yeah, but I'm not gonna be in Australia. I'm not gonna have the no worries mind. Obviously I have their friends and family as well, I think. Well, and work too, of course. I guess those are like some things that get you thinking. Let me know, have you ever had that thought? When you're in Australia, have you thought of like maybe going to another country? Or for you, it's also like me. Maybe a lot of you guys watching or hearing this, maybe you are in the same boat with me. Like Emilio, my country was a bit crazy for whatever reason. So for me now, it is just like a matter of leaving, staying in Australia. I made it, or I want to just make it happen. And then I will think about all that. So do let me know, I would like to know. What do you think about all this? I know I have been hitting on so many different things, but I would like to know what you think. See, this is another good example of cute random things in Japan. Look at that. So there is like a building and we have there a sign saying, look, we apologize for the inconvenience of this construction, and some other stuff. I didn't read the whole thing, but really cool, really interesting how you get like all these random little things. The attention to detail here is crazy. But as I'm telling you this example, right, the attention to detail and all that, then another part of me is also thinking, but Australia is so nice when it comes to just the relaxing feeling of no worries, you know, of, oh, just no worries, mate, it's okay, it's all good, should be right. I'm sure you know what I mean. So it is so interesting. And for example, right now I am passing by next to a clinic, and as I am passing by next to this clinic, I think that another thing that gets me thinking is, yeah, like it's so interesting how the cultures are so different. I mean, in Australia, people do work hard. I'm not saying they don't, right? But typically, or like I'm sure that you have heard or you have seen, I hear this from students, people that I know, that Aussies are lazy. And it's so tricky because it may not necessarily be that they're lazy, but there are definitely cultural differences. Because here in Japan, I see people working so hard or going like the extra mile, and it is normal. Actually, this is a good story that happened to me. Just to give you context, I went to this hotel, and this person, right? When I was doing the check-in, this person wasn't that friendly. Also, not impolite. It's not like I was treated badly, but like the way I was treated wasn't that good. And my Japaneseness went like, oh, this person is so rude. This shouldn't be like this. But you know, when I start thinking about it, it is just so tricky because in Japan everyone is so polite, treats you so nicely, and then a part of me is already like into the Japanese chip. It's like, if you are here, you should be getting good customer service. It shouldn't be like, oh yeah, check in, yeah, no, you have to wait, go over there, serious face. I'm not saying that you have to always be extra beamingly happy, but it was tricky. If I get this kind of treatment in Australia, I maybe wouldn't react this way. So it's interesting how, you know, we change with depending on where we are, based on the environment, right? But Australians, I mean, I think they also work hard, but the problem is that we see lots of people just being like, oh look, I'm a bit tired, I get a sick day. And in here it's almost not impossible, but actually my wife was telling me that if you get a sick day in Japan, in most cases, this is not of course all cases, but in many cases, you have to get a day from your annual leave. Maybe it's the same in other countries as well. So in Australia, it's like, oh, I feel sick, I have a headache, I don't go to work, you get that day paid off. Whereas in other parts of the world, whereas in here, that is not the case. If you don't go to work, it has to be because you're really bad. So it's interesting. And there are so many little things. Maybe I should make a list and make a full episode on all the things that come to mind when it comes to Australia. But so far, I'm enjoying the holidays. It is nice to be filming this, recording this for you. It is nice that I can share this with you. And I will wrap up the episode by wishing you a happy 2025. I hope that this year it's full of challenges, full of good things, hopefully not too many bad things, and basically experiences, things that will make your life better, just help you push, help you improve. And I have been saying that on social media as well. A year full of PRs, full of visas, full of less stress when it comes to passing our English exams. For those of you studying, hopefully a year where we get good scores, where we find the job that we are looking for, that we basically try to hit as many of the goals that we want. And very soon, this is the 2nd of January, but very soon you will see a gym full, you will see people doing all these things. But remember, it is the long run, it is continuing, it is not giving up. Remember, it's like a marathon with whatever goal you have. Take your time, and also don't forget to believe in yourself. That is super, super important. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I will see you in the next one. Miss me, don't miss me too much. I would love to do one more before I come back to Australia. So wish me luck. Let me know what you think about this episode. And as I said, sending you a big, big hug from Japan. And I'll be back in Australia probably in about 10 days. And well, then normal life will continue. I hope you enjoyed this on your walk, on your day at home, on your commute, on your drive, whatever you were doing. I was part of your day, you were part of mine. So massive thank you for being here with me. And don't forget that the best way to support the show is by sharing it, telling people about it, spread the love. Anyways, I'll get going. Take care, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care, and bye for now. See ya.